Welcome to The Bold Encourager. I'm Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It just allows for me to get my positive, encouraging messages out to everyone. Well, today we're going to be learning about work stress. So let's get started. So today we are talking about work stress, everything we can all understand. Definitely been feeling it lately with work stress at my job. I work a day job of working at an IRA company where I am a client service and sales rep. So yes, there is a lot of stress in my job. But I want to talk to you about that because I feel like the majority of people I have talked to have told me the same thing. They're all experiencing a lot of work stress. And I think that is normal to have work stress, but it's how we handle the work stress that makes a difference. And I wanted to use life coaching skills to talk to you about how to handle work stress so that you can have a healthy life. And we spend a lot of time at work, so it's so important that we handle our work stress very well. So first thing, when you start to feel overloaded with work, and you start to feel tired or overwhelmed, and when you don't even want to wake up for work the next morning, that's when you know that you have to do something to manage your work stress. So let's get into it. So let's start off with saying we have to start off the day right in the first place. If you go into a day and you start off the day on a bad note, most likely the whole entire day is going to be difficult. So how can we start the day off right? First off, make sure you wake up early enough to give yourself time to have a very relaxing morning. I know that it's hard as parents, it's hard when you have a busy life to do this, but I highly recommend that you kind of plan accordingly so that you can start off the day right. And that will internally and externally help you have a better day at work. So get up early enough to where you can have breakfast, coffee, tea, whatever you usually need, right, to get the day started. And also give yourself enough time to have some quiet time before work. Because if you go into the workplace when you're already stressed out, it's been a busy morning, it's already been incredibly stressful, guess what? It's just going to carry on throughout the whole day. So it's very important to have a little bit of quiet time before you start your work. Another thing is, you always want to get a good night's sleep before the night before. I know it's hard when your mind's going a mile a minute, but whatever you can do, make a regimen for you to have a night routine so that you can get to bed on time and that you can get enough sleep so that you can conquer the next day. Now let's get into something that we can all kind of acknowledge, not always, but we sometimes have difficult coworkers, and that can create a lot of work stress. So what can we do? I recommend, and this is not to be where you're like avoiding conflict at all times, but I recommend if you can stay away from the conflict, try everything you can, because your work environment is very, very important. And so if you have a very negative work environment and you have a lot of conflict with others, it tends to affect your work. And this is your job, you get paid to do it, so you don't want the conflict. Try to lessen it as much as possible. I know sometimes there's times that you can't avoid it, but if you can, do avoid it, And then another thing, avoid gossip. So I know you may just be the innocent bystander that heard the gossip, but then you become the guilty party. So even if you're not the person gossiping, if you're just listening to the gossip, you become the guilty party. So don't get involved with the gossip. If you hear someone gossiping about someone else, best thing to do, exit. Exit out of the conversation. Oh, I gotta go, I gotta get some work done. Don't make it very obvious. Just say, hey, I gotta go, or sorry, something came up, or something to exit out of the conversation, because it's very important to not get involved with gossip. Gossip ultimately causes a lot of work relationship troubles. And if someone you really care about heard that you were listening on gossip about them, they would be hurt. So it's so important to stay away from the gossip as much as possible. And then that person most likely will gossip about you, so you probably don't even want to really get too close to them. Because gossip is just not a good idea. Another thing, don't get into any controversial conversations. I know we all have opinions, I know it, but at work, keep it separate. You know, if you want to do that in your personal life, that's a lot different because you choose your set of friends. You can get into those conversations. But controversial, like conversations, politics, things like that, stay away from them because, you know, everybody has different opinions on everything. And then that can interfere with your work relationships if you have differences of opinion. So it's very important to not get involved in those kind of conversations when you're at work, because that affects your work environment and can cause a lot of work stress. And like I said, you have a right to have your opinion, but maybe like do that with your personal friends, because your work environment is something you deal with all day, every day. So you want to keep it healthy. Okay, another thing. If you can't avoid the conflict, say it's right in your face, the person's just mistreating you for no good reason, they're just being difficult, and there's nothing you can do to avoid it, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have a conversation with them and say, you know, and do it in a manner that is very professional. Don't get, you know, offended. Especially if it's just like they just don't agree with you, or they're just not, I'm not saying bullying, because bullying is a different thing, but I'm saying just they're not, you and her or him are not agreeing on something, and it's conflicting at work. You would pull them away, have a conversation with them, take them to lunch, whatever, and say, hey, like I really want to have a good working environment. I know we don't agree on everything. We don't have to be best friends, but let's try to get along. I mean, most of the times, if the person's a reasonable person, they most likely be like, okay, you're right. Let's make it work. Let's just, you know, not get involved with the conflict. Let's just let it go. And there's just a way. It's like swallowing your pride and like making it so that situation is resolved. You do not want to have it carried on throughout your work life, because that will ultimately raise the stress in your life. Okay, so the next thing, be organized and comfortable. Okay, organization is not my cup of tea either. I'm terrible at organization. That's probably why I get stressed out mostly. But there is a way to organize all the things you have to do in one day and put the priority at the top, then go down the line. Make a list. What's the top priority? What's next? You know, prioritize. If you start the day with an organized situation, you can actually get through the list, and maybe you don't finish everything, but you like check it off the box. It will actually take the stress away to like done, 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 done. And when you get through the list, you feel accomplished. Even if you don't accomplish all the tasks, you know that you accomplished some of the tasks, and then some of those might carry over to the next day. But it's so important to have an organization so that you feel like you're getting things done. Another thing is, be comfortable. If you don't have a comfortable chair, that's going to affect you. Like you're uncomfortable, you're moving around, your back's hurting. So it's even going to cause more stress because your back's not feeling great, you're not feeling great. So if you can get a comfortable chair in your office, or if you're sitting down, or be comfortable if you're standing at work all day, make sure you have some comfortable shoes. That's going to make the world of difference for you. So make sure you're always comfortable, wear comfortable clothing. If it's work office attire, find comfortable work office attire. Whatever it may be, make yourself comfortable, because you're going to be there for a long time. Another thing is, try to have good posture so that you don't cause yourself more conflict with your body. And if your body feels good, you're going to feel good, you're going to feel great. So it's so important to do all those kind of things. Another thing is, take some breaks and lunches. You know you're designated for 2 breaks and a lunch if you work a full 8 hours schedule, right? And then, so you got to take those breaks. So if you're not taking those breaks, you're going to feel it. And I'm talking about stepping away from work, stepping away from your desk. If you work for fast food, or if you work in retail, get out of the building. You know, you don't want to sit in the building, and it just doesn't take away the stress because you're still there. Take a walk. You can walk around the building if you work at the mall. You can walk around, take a walk outside if you're at the fast food. If you're working from home, get outside, walk around for a little bit. Take some time away. It will really help your mentality. And I would say practice some breathing and stretching exercises if you're able to. If you're stretching like during a break, it will kind of take the tension off your body. If you're breathing like in and out, like doing sometimes breathing will relieve that stress. So that's a good way to take a break and release some stress. Another thing you can do during your breaks is listen to some positive, uplifting music. You don't want to listen to any angry music. You want to definitely listen to some positive, uplifting music on your breaks. It'll get you all worked up and excited to, okay, I only have this much time left for work, and it will also just give you that positive way of thinking. So it's very important to do that too. And last of all, after work, de-stress. So sometimes after work, you're like running to go pick up the kids. Of course, those are things you have to do, but just remember you have to de-stress at some point because you've already had a stressful day at work. It's very important to de-stress. So whatever that may look like for you, it may mean going to the gym, doing a little bit of exercise to get out of the house and de-stress. It may be getting a massage. It may be relaxing after work, just taking a nap. Whatever that may look like for you, I just encourage you to do that because you do need to de-stress from the day so that you can be prepared for the next day if it's still another weekday that you have to face, right? So it's so important to do these things to kind of lessen the stress in your life. Just remember that stress can kill. It really can. And I can attest to this. I definitely have to do some work on my life. I feel some anxiety right now from work. And so there's things that I have to do to take away some of that stress. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get rid of all the stress. Nobody can. But when you're overwhelmed, you have to figure out a way to take some of it out. And your mind is so important. You only have one mind. And so it's so important to take care of it. And remember, you don't want to ever get to the place where you break down. So I encourage you to do better in the way that you deal with your work stress, and I hope that this helped. If you like this video, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Also, please comment down below if any of these methods are something you'd like to put into your work schedule. Also, comment down below if there's anything I didn't suggest that you would like to suggest for work stress. Go ahead and do that. And also, if there's any ideas for any future videos, please also comment down below for that as well, if there's anything you would like me to do. Every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I will post a new Motivation Monday video, so you do not want to miss them. Just go ahead and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time I post a new video, so you won't even have to think about it. If you haven't followed me on social media, please follow me on social media. I'm at The Bold Encourager on Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, and YouTube. If you're on MeWe, I'm at Rebecca Mooney there. The links will be down below. Well, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you stay encouraged.